Dear friends in the Dhamma, this is my Dhamma talk about the Bojjhangas, or the 7 factors of enlightenment. Now, what are these 7 factors of enlightenment? First one is sati, mindfulness or remembering. Second one is Dhamma Vicaya, investigation. Third one is virya or energy. Fourth one is piti or joy. The fifth one is passaddhi, calm. Sixth one is samadhi, concentration. And the seventh and last one is upekkha or equanimity. Now there is a way of practicing these 7 factors of enlightenment in one's meditation. It's a different form of vipassana meditation leading to calm and concentration and wisdom. First we go through the links and explaining one by one in a theoretical way. After that I will show you how to use this Sata Bojjhanga as a meditation object. In the Bojjhanga Sutta, the Buddha explains about these 7 Bojjhangas. Coming back to the meaning of the word Bojjhanga, coming from Bodhi and Anga. Bodhi means enlightenment and Anga means factor or steps. So the 7 steps or factors of enlightenment. The monk who cultivates and makes much of the 7 factors of enlightenment inclines and is closed to Nibbana by the Buddha. So the 7 factors of enlightenment are well expounded, cultivated and developed by me, meaning by the Buddha. And when cultivated and much developed, they conduce to full realization, perfect wisdom, to Nibbana or enlightenment. In the famous Mahakāssyapa Bojjhanga Sutta, the Venerable Mahakāssyapa, one of the most senior monks of the Buddha, was very sick. So he was lying on his bed for several days, very weak, very sick and feeling very unwell. The Buddha came to see Mahakāssyapa and he inquired, is your sickness going down? Is it getting better? Do you already feel energy coming up in you? Is the sickness subsiding or is it getting worse? Mahakāssyapa replied that it's not getting better, the sickness is getting worse, the pain, the weakness, the bodily sensations are getting stronger. So it's not feeling better, it's rather getting worse with this sickness. The Buddha then started explaining the 7 Bojjhangas. And he said, if somebody is reflecting well on these 7 factors of enlightenment, it will lead to bodily and mental happiness, bodily and mental health, and it will help you to overcome this sickness. At the end of the discourse, the Venerable Mahakāssyapa got up, he was healthy again, he thanked the Buddha for the Dhamma talk and he left. So showing that the Dhamma, if you reflect wisely on it, is not only helping us mentally, even bodily, it leads to health and happiness. The cause of all pain and suffering is ignorance. We know that now. Now we need a system to overcome all this suffering. Ignorance is not seeing the path, not knowing what Dhamma is, and it leads to suffering over and over again. The Buddha also called it asati and asampajanya, meaning non-mindful and without wisdom. We reflect on things without mindfulness, without wisdom, and we are drifting away from the Dhamma. So the nutriment of non-restraint is shown to be lack of mindfulness and complete awareness. In the context of nutriment, the drifting away of the object, the Dhamma, the lapsing from the mind of the knowledge of the lakkhanas or characteristics of existence, which are impermanence, suffering, and voidness of self, and forgetfulness of the true nature of things. That is the reason for non-restraint. Now coming to the first link of the Satapojjhanga, which is Sati, usually translated as mindfulness. But if we use the Satapojjhanga as a meditation, it means more like remembering a piece of the Dhamma. So constant mindfulness and vigilance are necessary to avoid ill and perform good. The man with the presence of mind, who surrounds himself with watchfulness of mind, which is called Satima, the man of courage and earnestness, gets ahead of the weak, of the lazy, and of the heedless people. So Sati we need in day-to-day life. We need Sati in all kinds of meditation, and also we start the Satapojjhanga meditation with Sati or mindfulness. As already mentioned, Sati has another meaning, which is remembering, and in this context it means more like remembering the Dhamma. So the importance of Sati, mindfulness, in all our dealings is clearly indicated by the following words of the Buddha. Mindfulness, I declare, is essential in all things everywhere. It is as salt to the curry. The Buddha's life is one integral picture of mindfulness. He is the Satta Sato, the ever mindful, ever vigilant. He is the very embodiment of mindfulness. There was never an occasion when the Buddha manifested signs of sluggish inactivity or thoughtlessness. He was very active, he was very mindful, he was full of energy till his last day. The second factor in the Satapojjhanga is called Dhamma Vicaya, or reflection on the Dhamma. So it means keen investigation of the Dhamma. It is the sharp analytical knowledge of understanding the true nature of all things. It is seeing things as they really are, seeing things in their proper perspective. Buddhism is free from compulsion and coercion and does not demand of the follower blind faith. At the very outset, the skeptic will be pleased to hear of its call for investigation. Buddhism from the beginning to end is open to all those who have eyes to see and minds to understand. So again, Buddhism does not demand blind faith from the followers. The definition of religion. Now if you check in the dictionary, you will find following explanation. A religion means a belief in or the worship of a god or gods, service and worship of gods or the supernatural. And if you take this interpretation, then Buddhism is not a religion. Originally, definitely, it was not meant to be a religion. It was a philosophy of life. It was a way, a practice, a technique to control and develop your mind, to clean your mind from all the defilements and to reach stages of awakening. The shortest definition of religion would be interruption by Johann Baptist Metz. Now, I believe all religions originally served humanity and were supposed to help humanity to understand their minds and to develop spiritually. Over time, many of the religions and religious traditions have been corrupted and are often used to control the human mind and not to develop the human mind, which is very unfortunate. That's why Buddhism, Hinduism, and a few other spiritual techniques are still used to wake up the mind and not to control it.
In the famous Kalama Sutra, the Buddha says this: believe nothing, no matter where you read it or who has said it, not even if I have said it, unless it agrees with your own reason and your own common sense. So to the inquiring Kalamas, the Buddha made this statement. He said, right it is to doubt, right it is to question what is doubtful and what is not clear. In a doubtful manner, wavering does arise. As the wise test the purity of gold by burning, cutting, and examining it by means of a piece of touchstone, so should you accept my words after examining them, and not merely out of regard and reverence for me. Thus blind belief is condemned in the Buddhist teaching, and the Buddha never ever recommended it. There's also a story in our Buddhist texts about Ubali, Nigandanatha Buddha, a Jain ascetic. So he was a monk from another tradition. This Ubali came to see the Buddha. He had a Dhamma discussion, and at the end he developed a lot of faith in the Buddha, and he worshipped the Buddha, asking him to join him as a follower. The Buddha did not accept him immediately, but he said, Ubali, you are a well-known ascetic of another tradition. Think twice what you are doing, because your followers may be displeased with your decision. My intention is not to convert other people to my religion or to my philosophy. Important is that you practice it, use it in your meditation, and try to wake up from your slumber. Ubali later, of course, came back, and he actually did become a monk, but not right away. The third link of the Saddhabhujjhanga is called Virya, or energy. So the third enlightenment factor is Virya. It is a mental property, a Cetasika, and the sixth limb of the Noble Eightfold Path. There it is called Samavayama, or right effort. Prince Siddhartha's Atthakilamattana Yoga. Now that is the period where the Buddha was meditating alone as an ascetic, torturing his own body. He was eating very little, never washing his body, sitting day and night under a tree, meditating. Also later the Buddha realized this is not the right way to enlightenment, but we can see from this period that the Buddha was full of energy. He had lots of virya and energy, and he gave everything to attain full enlightenment. Also important is to know that the two good qualities of energy and concentration should be always balanced in a meditator's mind. If there's too much energy, it leads to restlessness. If there's too much concentration, it leads to laziness. So the two factors should be well balanced in a meditator's mind. The third link is called Priti, translated as rapture or bliss. So the fourth enlightenment factor is Priti. This too is a mental property, a Cetasika, and it is a quality which suffuses both the body and the mind. The man lacking in this quality cannot proceed along the path to enlightenment. The one who has calm can save thousands of people, but the one who has Priti, joy and happiness, can save 1,000,000 people. Contentment is a characteristic of a really happy person. Now, in order to enjoy this Priti, this happiness, this bliss, we have to be very contented with what we have. Contentment is a characteristic of a really happy individual. The ordinary worldling seems to think that it is difficult to cultivate and develop contentment. Seeing a form, hearing a sound, perceiving an odor or tasting a flavor, feeling some tangible thing,
cognizing an idea, people are moved, and from those sense objects and mental objects, they experience a certain degree of pleasure. But it is all a passing show of phenomena, and it will never lead to real peace and happiness. So if we depend on the six senses for our happiness, we will never experience real happiness. Since the real peace and happiness, or mental factors like priti, rapture, can only be experienced through contentment and through meditation. There was once a day where the Buddha and the monks did not receive any lunch. Nobody brought any dana to the temple because there were a few days of celebrations in the village. The monks decided not to go to the village because they did not want to disturb the people celebrating, so they decided to stay in their monastery and just practice meditation. So for 1 or 2 days the monks didn't have anything to eat, but far from suffering, the monks enjoyed this period. They enjoyed their seclusion and their meditation. And this is the verse the Buddha uttered. Happily do we dwell, we who have no impediments. Feed us on joy shall we be, just like the radiant devas. So they were very, very happy in their contentment. The fifth link is called passati, calm or tranquility. There are different words for calm, like shanti or upekkha is more like equanimity, but also used for calm. But passati is the word which fits the best for the English word calm or tranquility. So it is the fifth factor of enlightenment, and passati is twofold. Kaya passati means calm of body, and citta passati, which means mental calm and tranquility. Passati is compared to the happy experience of a weary walker who sits down under a tree in the shade, or the cooling of a hot place by rain. It is also compared to a man walking through the desert, sitting down under a shady tree. That is passati, the feeling of calm and happiness. Hard it is to tranquilize the mind. It trembles and it is unsteady, difficult to guard and hold back. It quivers like a fish taken from the watery home and thrown on the dry ground. It wanders at will. Such is the nature of this ultra-subtle mind. It is systematic reflection, yoniso manasikara, that helps the aspirant for enlightenment to quietening the fickle mind. Unless a man cultivates tranquility of mind, concentration cannot be successfully developed. A tranquilized mind keeps away all superficial and futilities. Tame your wild mind. Begin a practice of mindfulness. Train yourself to go beyond mere thought to a place of pure, undistracted, wholehearted well-being. Now in the West, in Europe and America, and most probably also in Australia, the people are not very happy with the idea to tame your mind. They would call it restrictions or rules and regulations which are unnatural, and they don't want to get into it. But according to the Buddha, without self-control, there can be no enlightenment. The most important quality is that you have control of your mind. You have to control it in order not to run after sense desires, not to run after negative karmas and emotions, but to focus and settle on the pure dharma, on the wholesome things, on the calm and peaceful states of enlightenment. Humility does not mean you think less of yourself, it means you think of yourself less. Now, if we meet a developed meditator, a meditation master, a Zen master, usually we always can see two big characteristics or qualities. One is equanimity and the other one is humility. There is no saint who is arrogant, and there is no saint who is out of control, who is not equanimous about the ups and downs in life. So it is only when the mind is tranquilized and is kept to the right road of orderly process that it becomes useful for the individual possessor of it and for society. A disorderly mind is a liability both to the owner of it and for others. So self-control is the most important thing we need for meditation. I was once in India at the Himalaya, staying with the Indian yogi for 1 month for meditation. The yogi told me once, many people come to me asking for advice, asking for meditation. Some people have no self-control. As soon as I realized they are lacking in self-control, I sent them home again. And I tell them, nobody can save you. No Buddha, no yogi, no holy being, if you do not have any self-control. A man without self-control is like a city broken into and left without walls. The next link is samadhi or concentration, the sixth link in the chain. It is only the tranquilized mind that can easily concentrate on a subject of meditation. The calm, concentrated mind sees things as they really are. Samahita yata bhutang bhajanati. The unified mind brings the 5 hindrances under control, the pancha nivarana. There is a difference between samma samadhi and just samadhi. A cat who is trying to catch an insect or a mouse has also samadhi. It has very strong concentration in order to catch the prey. But it is not samma samadhi. Samma samadhi means you have concentration with the aim of understanding your mind, with the aim of attaining enlightenment. So you use the concentration for something noble, for something good, and not for killing or catching your prey. Concentration is the intensified steadiness of the mind. Like an unflickering flame of a lamp in a windless place. It is concentration that fixes the mind and causes it to stay undisturbed and unmoved. So correct practice of samadhi or concentration maintains the mind and the mental properties in a state of balance, like a steady hand holding a pair of scales. Right concentration dispels passions that disturb the mind and brings purity and placidity of mind. The concentrated mind is not distracted by sense objects. Concentration of the highest type cannot be disturbed under the most adverse circumstances. Also, I remember again, when I was with that yogi at the Himalaya, once something happened at the ashram which we thought might have disturbed him. So we went to the yogi after that and apologized for making him restless. The yogi just laughed and said, nobody can make me restless. Meaning he was really very developed. Another problem for our concentration are the 5 hindrances. Before we overcome the 5 hindrances, we will not attain real samadhi or concentration. So these are the enemies of concentration and also of enlightenment. They are kamacchanda, sensual desires, vyapada, ill will, tinamitta, drowsiness, laziness, Uddhacca Kukucca, restlessness and worry, and Vicikicca, doubt. So we have to overcome all these 5 hindrances in order to make some progress in our meditation. The 7th factor is called Upekkha or equanimity. In the Abhidhamma, Upekkha is indicated by the term Tatra Macchattata, neutrality. Equanimity is the result of a calm, concentrated mind. It is hard indeed to be undisturbed when touched by the troubles of life. But the man who cultivates this difficult quality of equanimity is not upset about anything anymore, like the yogi I told before. The elephant in the living room. Truly the good give up longing for everything. The good prattle not with thoughts of craving. Touched by happiness or pain, the wise show neither elation nor depression. It is easy enough to be pleasant when life flows along like a song, but the man worthwhile is the man who can smile when everything goes that wrong, like an elephant in the living room. Understanding the workings of the law of karma. Also important is to understand the law of karma, at least the basics. As long as you don't get a basic understanding of the law of karma, it will be very difficult to stay equanimous. So a certain understanding of how the law of karma is working, how the karma vipaka, the results are coming back to us, will be necessary in order to cultivate equanimity. Who master is of self will ever bear a smiling face. He puts away all frowns, is first to greet another and to share his all. This friend of all the world, truth crowns. With the aid of the teaching of the Buddha, each one of us has the power to detect and destroy the cause of suffering. Each one individually can put forth the necessary effect to work out this deliverance. So these were the Satapocchanga: mindfulness or remembering, investigation, energy, joy, calm, concentration, and equanimity. Now, in order to practice this as a meditation, what you need is just the first 2 factors. Sati here meaning remembering, and Dhammavicaya is Dhamma investigation. So what you have to do is you take a small piece of the Dharma, of the Buddhist teaching. It should be short, not a long, you should not remember a long line. For example, you could use as a meditation, everything is impermanent, or everything is non-satisfactory. You use a phrase like this, and with Sati and Dhammavicaya you reflect on it. So everything is impermanent, everything is impermanent, everything is impermanent. You let it sink in very deeply till it goes deep into your subconsciousness. All the other factors will happen automatically. So you are reflecting over and over again about a small phrase of the Dhamma. Then suddenly you will realize that energy, virya, is coming up inside your body and mind. That will lead to joy or priti. You feel happiness coming up. That will then calm down into passaddhi, calm and peace. Then you will feel samadhi, or a strong concentration is coming up inside your mind. And that will then lead to upekkha or equanimity. Then you can stay on in the equanimity as long as it lasts, and then again start from the beginning using the same or a different phrase of the Dhamma. Many also use this Satapocchanga meditation as an introductory for Vipassana meditation. So they first go through all the 7 Bochangas and then use the concentration and equanimity at the end for switching on to Vipassana meditation. Comparing the jhana and the bojjhangas, because some people might be confused about their meditation or their attainments, and many are. I have met many people who are, at least in the beginning, very confused about their spiritual attainments. And there is a group of meditators who confuse the jhana with the bojjhangas. In the jhana, in the fourth jhana, the main characteristics are concentration and equanimity. As we saw just before, in the bojjhanga, the last two factors are also concentration and equanimity. So it could easily be that you go through the bojjhangas, which is fairly easy to practice, and you mistake the concentration and the equanimity for a jhana. And then go around say you have a jhana, which you don't. Now, the easiest way to distinguish the jhana from the bojjhanga is, in the jhana there is concentration and equanimity, but the mind is totally absorbed. So in this jhana you are in an absorption, meaning the six senses are no longer functioning. So if you are in the jhana, all the six senses are totally blacked out. They are blocked. So in the jhana, you cannot think about anything. You don't feel your body. You don't hear anything around you. The senses are totally dead. Till you wake up from the jhana, and only then the thinking and the senses are coming back again. Not so in the bojjhanga. In the bojjhanga there is strong concentration and equanimity, but the senses are still open. There is no absorption. Nothing, if the concentration and equanimity is strong enough, nothing will disturb you anymore. But you are fully aware that you are sitting there in meditation and something is happening around you. So that is the main difference between the jhana and the bojjhanga. Which line you can use, nothing is worth grasping. So you could try just with that phrase, just sit down, focus on this line and just reflect on it. Nothing is worth grasping, nothing is worth grasping, nothing is worth grasping. If you do it well enough, if it sinks deep into your subconsciousness, it will lead to all the other factors of energy, joy, calm, concentration and equanimity. No one saves us but ourselves. No one can and no one may. We ourselves must walk the path. So even if the Buddha would be sitting here right in front of us, he could not do the meditation for us. He could only show the path to enlightenment, like any other meditation master or spiritual teacher. So it is always up to us to make an effort to do our meditation and to make some progress towards enlightenment. Remembering the saints of other days and recollecting how it was that they lived. So we can always remember how the Buddha and all the saints were living, how they were practicing, how they were doing. And then also nowadays times are different. It may be not possible to live in the same way anymore, but you can use many of the good qualities as an inspiration. And many things you can copy even nowadays, living a simple, peaceful life, using all your spare time for spiritual practice and meditation. So I hope that there are a few practical, interesting points for you in this Saddha Bojjhanga sermon. I hope that all of you will make quick progress in their meditation, realize stages of awakening, and free your mind completely from all desires. May you all be well and happy, enjoy your meditation and realize enlightenment. Etang santang etang panitang yadidang sappa sankara samado sabupati padinis sakko Tanhakkayo virago nirodho nippananti.